They called it Grand Masters of Wrestling. DVDs sold for $1 a piece at Walmart with somewhat deceptive advertising, featuring aging legends colliding with local talent, first under a tent in a backyard, then in a high school gym. Shows never meant for mass release, and man could you tell! And the star of the show? A guy in a fencing mask and a cape who couldn't wrestle. Let's just say, these DVDs affected me. And now I hear they're doing it one more time. Maccabiah Mania 3, March the 2nd in Livingston, New Jersey. The mighty Maccabees' final match? We'll see about that, booby. We're still in the month of January 2011 here in Classic Review World. Last time I looked at TNA Genesis, and this week we're on the road to what is arguably the worst WrestleMania of the modern era. But hey, we're going to try and have some fun while we're on that road. This week I'm looking at the Royal Rumble 2011 from January 30th at the TD Bank North Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. This show was nominated by Ryan Singh Gill, Asa Walton, and Mr. Amazing Dylan Cunningham over at patreon.com/wrestlingwithwregret. At the start of 2011, things feel still kind of dire for me as a wrestling fan, like watching WWE. I feel like this is one of its lowest periods for me as a viewer. I didn't really like a lot of the creative at this point. I still felt very burned by what was going on creatively the year before this in WWE. It just felt like it wasn't a lot of fun then or going back to watch it now, because this is some of the most boring, pandering, meandering, creatively directionless, homogenized, kid-friendly slop that WWE is trying to put out at this point. And for me, watching it as an observer of wrestling, trying to watch at this time, it just felt like there wasn't a lot for me to root for or to care about, because the heels weren't convincing heels and the baby faces, save for John Cena, were all pretty dumb. But hey, in the Hyatt package, they say that tonight, one man will make history. They're taking the Royal Rumble match to a whole new level by devaluing it and adding 10 more people to the match. Ooh, instead of 30, now it's 40, because hey, we have two brand new big old stables we've got to try and get over on this match, so we need the extra space. That's right, I'm talking about the new Nexus and the Corre. First off, let's talk about the new Nexus, led by CM Punk. He got hurt late in 2010, was doing commentary for a couple of months, and then made his big dramatic return to wrestling by jumping John Cena in December on an episode of Raw and announcing he was the new leader of the Nexus. Wade Barrett had been exiled after trying and failing multiple times to defeat John Cena, so it's Punk's second go at running a cult in WWE after the Straight Edge Society the previous year. He makes the Nexus members go through this initiation process to stay in the group, and their one goal as members is to serve Punk and help him win the Royal Rumble specifically. So Wade Barrett was essentially kicked out of the Nexus for being too singularly focused and making it all about him as a leader, and he is then replaced by a guy who is very singularly focused on himself, and it's all about him. And during the initiations, Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater are like nuts to this, and they leave. They move over to SmackDown to form the Corre with Wade Barrett and Ezekiel Jackson. And the whole story with the Corre is that there is no one leader. They all have equal partnership in the group, and it's all toward one common goal. A common goal which is never really clearly defined or made anything different or unique to what the Nexus was doing when Wade Barrett was in charge. So yeah, you take a look at these two groups of the new Nexus and the Corre, and you wonder which of these is going to be treated with more importance going forward. The TD Garden is sold out, more than 15,100 folks in attendance here. The show gets 476,000 pay-per-view buys. It's up from 462K the previous year. Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, and Matt Striker are on the call for this show, and oh yes folks, heel Michael Cole is in effect. Fine in small doses, but when it's the whole show, it's a bit much. Your first of a whopping 4 matches on this card is for the World Heavyweight Championship as Edge defends against the #1 contender Dolph Ziggler. I did not care for babyface Edge during this time. In fact, I kind of felt burned out on Edge as a main eventer in general around this point. I thought he was up. I liked Edge, but I thought he was in the main event tier for far too long, to the point where it felt kind of repetitive to me. And also as a face, he's just not as good as he is a heel during this time period. And so I felt a little bit kind of wanting more out of his character. I thought that his whole angle where he was kind of going up against his jilted ex-wife, Vicky Guerrero, who is now in a position of power, and that whole storyline, it didn't really click with me. So I was just not feeling it as far as Edge was concerned. Dolph Ziggler at this point is in kind of a make or break mode for his career. I think that he needed to have like a really good match, good showing for this event. And I don't know, I felt that he and Vicky Guerrero doing the whole like dating storyline, I don't know if it helped him either. I always thought that Dolph was just better kind of as his own character. And I thought that him with Vicky was, it was just kind of felt like an Edge 2.0 thing, but not quite as good. So let's add a fun wrinkle to this match by taking away Edge's finishing move. The acting SmackDown general manager Vicky Guerrero has declared that the spear will be illegal and banned in this match, or Edge is going to be forced to forfeit the title. And boy, they really lay in to this woman on commentary. They make fun of her appearance and her weight the whole time. Again, for a PG product that promotes this whole anti-bullying message, it is astounding to me just how the babyface commentators will just lay into any woman who does not fit this particular standard for the other like divas in the company. And heel McCool is the sole voice of reason. So Vicky comes out and she encourages Edge, hey Edge, you should definitely use the spear tonight so the title can go to a real man, Dolph Ziggler, who's coming out with one of the biggest boo-boo faces you ever did see. As the match begins, we get a bunch of "We Hate Sign Guy" signs on the hard cam, and the sign guy is like there on the hard cam. Like, damn, what did he ever do? Edge has the early advantage, but Dolph hits a neck breaker in the ropes to turn things around. He works the neck a lot. He locks in the sleeper, another neck breaker. He does that Mr. Perfect neck snap thing, the sleeper some more. Edge comes back up. They collide in midair with a nice double cross body. Both men are worn out. Dolph hitting this nice version of a jawbreaker, goes to the famouser, but Edge catches him in a powerbomb. That was pretty sweet. Up on the top turnbuckle, Edge with a top rope cross body. Ziggler rolls through him and get a close call. Edge blocks the zigzag and locks in the execution. Looks somehow worse than The Rock's best sharpshooter. It looks so crap, but Dolph sells it like death. He manages to grab the ropes. Dolph hits the zigzag, but Edge kicks out. Edge is in spearing position, but then he's like, oh yeah, that's right. He fights to hit the DDT. We get the count, but referee grabs the ref. What a dick. She's on the apron now yelling at Edge. She slaps him, which should be a DQ, right? Suddenly, Vicky is pulled off the apron by Kelly, who at this point I'm pretty sure is nowhere near Vicky Guerrero or Dolph Ziggler in a storyline capacity, or Edge for that matter, because like she's in a program with Drew McIntyre right now where like Drew's very mad at Kelly and all this, but like that's got nothing to do with Dolph or Edge or Vicky. So like why is Kelly getting involved here? We get another zigzag and somehow another kick out. Dolph's got that Doc Brown hair going on as he locks in another sleeper. It leads to a referee bump. Everyone wants Edge to hit the spear. Do it, Edge. There are no witnesses. So he hits the spear and McCool says, somebody had to see that. Then he hits Dolph with the unprettier, as Stryker says, a little shout out to his buddy. Edge wins and retains the title. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I like the overall story with this matchup and how Edge kind of got one over on Vicky at the end by still busting out the spear when the referee's not able to see it. But I thought the match just dragged a bit. I think it was one or two too many applications of the sleeper. And I think that if they tightened the match up a bit, it would have just been a more exciting matchup. And so as far as Dolph, like I said, it was kind of a make or break moment for him. I think he did okay enough in this matchup. And they do give him the Money in the Bank push after through this. So, clearly he did pass the test at this point. Time to start pointing to the sign, folks. It's written in the stars. And up next is our match for the WWE Championship as The Miz defends against Randy Orton. Last November on an episode of Raw, The Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Orton to win the title for the very first time. It was quite a shocking ordeal. Finally, a few weeks ago, Orton beat Sheamus to become the #1 contender. I may have been in the minority back when Miz won the championship, where I was like a fan and in favor of that happening, because I'm like, yes, finally, some like new blood, some new life is put into the main event scene. I was getting tired of the characters who were kind of populating that space for the longest time and not really, backing away from it. And so I think The Miz, especially when you consider his career arc and where he came from and what he had accomplished and how much he had grown since then, I think was just the right call. I think it was a really smart move. But unfortunately, they did that thing where they book him like, Kurt Angle in 2000 or Chris Jericho in 01, 02, where he's this champion who continually acts like a completely worthless chump who needs help to win every single time. And it's made more annoying by the fact that heel Michael Cole just lays it on thick. The praise for The Miz, all the people that he is like in the camp of as a heel, it's no more so than The Miz. And so you get to hear like the worst of heel Michael Cole, the most homeristic you'll ever get in this matchup, and anytime you see The Miz on screen. So The Miz and A-Rye are interviewed by Josh Matthews, and Miz says that his reign has been smeared with lies and slander. And there's a reason why he's a champion, and guys like Jerry Lawler and Randy Orton and even Tom Brady aren't champions. Big boos there in Boston. A-Rye says The Miz outclasses Orton. He's gonna beat Orton and go on to WrestleMania as champion. And then The Miz gets super serious here. He gets serious when he talks really quiet, like this, and he says, "'Cause I'm The Miz, and I'm awesome." So like I said, as the match goes on, Cole is just very much pro-Miz to the point where Jerry Lawler has to tell him to shut up a couple of times during the matchup. Also, Cole early on makes this one crack about apartment wrestling, and it causes this weirdest noise to emit out of Matt Striker.
This is no bar fight or a fight with yourself in your apartment, Matt.
Nice. Are you talking about apartment wrestling now? Nice.
Alex Riley with the drop on Orton with the referee's back turned. He helps The Miz out again as Orton charges the corner. Miz is working on top for a while, that slow, methodical pace of his. We get a sleeper. Haven't seen many of those lately. There's a funny exchange on commentary where Striker asks, "Well, what do you think The Miz's weaknesses are, Cole?" And Michael goes, "Well, I think that some people mistake his kindness for weakness." It's just like, oh man, what a pathetic answer that is when you're trying to defend the heel. Big superplex by Orton, and Cole just yells, "Oh no!" Orton starts making his comeback. He hits his big moves, but The Miz counters the draping DDT, and Orton gets stomped by A-Rye. The Miz is up top. He actually hits the double axe handle. Color me shocked. They're fighting on the outside. Orton is slung shot into the ring post. Is it slung shot or slung or sling shotted? Randy barely avoids the count out. Hits some more of his big spots. Riley with some more interference, though it doesn't pay off. The Miz leaves the ring and wants to get out of dodge, but Orton cuts him off. Finally hits that draping DDT and sets up for the RKO, but then out comes the new Nexus for some reason. You've got David Otunga, Mason Ryan, Husky Harris, and Michael McGillicuddy showing up. The referee's distracted. Riley tries to attack, but Orton hucks him out of the ring and he lands on all of them. It's the most exciting move of the match. The RKO on The Miz, but then CM Punk shows up, hits the GTS on Orton, drags Miz atop of him. The Miz wins, and Cole hoppity hops in hope and happiness. I will say this, The Miz and Orton individually are like some of my picks for like the most consistent, just solid ass workers in WWE. I think they can each have a really good match with anyone, but for some reason, when these two are together and you have just two like born and bred WWE style workers having a WWE style match, it's just like, nah, just kind of there for me. Having the new Nexus come out to attack Orton, obviously it's to set up Punk and Orton for WrestleMania, but it's just like the way they go about it, the reason why they go about it, I think is just so, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are they helping The Miz of all people? I guess in a sense, like Punk is hedging his bets. He thinks he's going to win the Rumble and he wants to set The Miz up as the champion because he thinks he can beat him more easily. But even so, just like that's not explained at all at this point. So that's just me speculating, and so them coming out to beat Orton up just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, well, obviously we are setting up for WrestleMania. 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, dashing Cody Rhodes' beautiful face was broken by Rey Mysterio and his knee brace. Todd Grisham's in the promo zone with a written statement by the Codester where he says, "Tonight was supposed to be my time, but now my face and dreams are both shattered. Rey has not apologized or reached out to me, and that's inexcusable." And he also wants everyone to respect his wishes for privacy. This is, of course, the beginning of the undashing Cody Rhodes gimmick, which will go into hit their match together at WrestleMania. If you want to learn more about this part of Cody's WWE run, I did a whole video about it last year, and you can check it out right here. Hey WWE Universe, who do you think's gonna win the Royal Rumble? John Cena, Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, Plant, The Big Show, no one can eliminate him, Wade Barrett, CM Punk, Rey Mysterio's got it, I know we can do it for the second time. A few more people want Cena to win, you know it, we all know it, woo! But first, hey, who's ready for a bathroom break? It's a handicap match for the Divas Championship as Natalya defends against both Michelle McCool and Layla. They are going to be challenging for their collective title. They are one person, one mind within two bodies. Or maybe I'm thinking about the twins in that side mission at Cyberpunk. Natalya seems awful cheery that she's walking into this messed up situation, this 2-on-1 circumstance. When she's making her entrance, Lawler talks about, oh, how wholesome she is, which I'm sure, this is PG era Lawler. He's got toned the perviness down, but I can imagine his skin was starting to bubble as he had to put over the wholesomeness of Natalya. So the match is about to begin, but then here's some bullshit. It's anonymous Raw general manager time, and Michael Cole is caught in his own headset as he tries to play it off. He says Teddy Long might have allowed for Lay Cool to challenge for the title this way, but now I'm gonna be like Terry Funk in 2000. I've changed the rules. It's a four-way match now. In comes Eve Torres as the surprise fourth member of the match, and the strategy has now changed. Lay Cool's working together, beating up Eve for a while, and Stryker at this point, I think he's just trying to get the King fired because he's just trying to feed him like opportunities to get pervy. He's like, say, hey King, in the nicest way possible, can you describe some of the assets of these ladies? And like Lawler can't even come up with an answer. He's like, how am I gonna say this without sounding like a dirty old man? We're down to Michelle and Elle. What will they do? Nothing. In come the other two. The match is going at a much more brisk pace than the previous two. Natalya somehow gets Eve and Layla stacked up, hits the double sharpshooter for the first time, evidently. It's broken up. Natty's using her power, doing a lot of shouting, but the fans don't seem that into it. We get an accidental kick by Michelle to Layla. McCool gets McDumped out of the ring, as does Natalya. Eve hitting the moonsault on Layla. We get this double pin situation. The referee counts for Eve, and she's suddenly the new champion. I'm going to give it 2.5 stars out of 5 because for the very limited amount of time they were given for this matchup, I think they made the best of their time and did the most with their minutes. To give you an idea, the opening match with Edge and Ziggler went about 20 minutes, and then Orton and Miz went about 19. This matchup here, I don't think goes barely above 5 minutes. And also, fun fact, all three undercard matches in this show were done, they ended with some big referee fuckery where they're knocked out or they're distracted or, oh my gosh, like someone's complaining because the referee didn't see the pin. Backstage, Josh Matthews is with US champ Daniel Bryan and his main squeeze in Gail Kim. What a very interesting storyline that Daniel Bryan is in here at this point, because he's on this ride as the US champion after coming back after his firing and coming back to help take down the Nexus. He's the US champion. He beat The Miz for that title. Very full circle thing. And now he's in this angle where he is kind of being wooed by both of the Bella twins. And then the big swerve at the end is that Daniel was actually playing them both because he is actively dating Gail Kim at this time. So Josh interviews him and asks, what would it be like if you won the Rumble? And Bryan says that the great thing about the Royal Rumble match is anything can happen. People call me a nerd, but if I won, that would be cool. In come Nikki and Brie, who are carrying flowers, and they apologize for getting upset at seeing Daniel and Gail making out last week. And so then they mock Gail and Danny for being in the same league. Oh, look at you and look at us. They start shouting, then Daniel gets slapped and a brawl breaks out. These ladies are hitting anything that moves. It finally settles down, and then Cole's just laughing at Daniel, saying, haha, what a dork, what a loser, what a nerd. Yeah, he's being fought over by 3 ladies. What an idiot, right? Well, now it's time for our main event of the evening. It's the Royal Rumble match. And as always, it's all about oh, damn it, the WrestleMania 14 Battle Royal clip again. Fuck this. They break down there have been 24 winners of the Rumble so far. No, there have been 24 matches. There are a lot of repeat winners in that, so it's more like 20 or 21. This video did get a pop out of me because they're using two of the most iconic songs from the NFL Films soundtrack. And also they talk about, oh, number 1 has produced just as many winners as number 30. Oh, tell us more about the number 1 spot besides Shawn Michaels. And as I mentioned earlier, it's the first and only 40-man Royal Rumble match. It is being billed as the biggest Royal Rumble match in history because of the size. I'll tell you one thing, it might be the biggest, but it ain't the greatest. At number 1, it's CM Punk of the new Nexus. He's in a pretty unenviable position. Then at number 2, wait a minute, we see Wade Barrett and Ezekiel Jackson come to the ring. Oh shit, it's the Corre. Look everyone, it's the Corre. It's a beatdown until the rest of the new Nexus shows up. It's a Pier 6 brawl as the anonymous Raw laptop blips in and tells them to stop. It's an order to restore order. Michael Cole telling the other wrestlers to get in the back or they lose their Rumble spots. Bye guys, see you all again in a few minutes. So the real number 2 is US champion Daniel Bryan, which is pretty cool to see the match start out with these two workhorses, these two, internet darlings, as it were, starting things out in this very cardio-intensive, long-term match. You get some real fun kind of sense for where things can go with them. And of course, Vince McMahon has got to be just pumping his thoughts directly through the brains and the mouths of Michael Cole and Matt Striker during this time, because they are just getting buried, both of them, as this match is going on, about like, oh, they spent all these years toiling away in the minor leagues and how, it's, hey, everything you did before WWE is nothing but garbage, so forget all that, it's all about this. Like, you could just tell the contempt that Vince had for these two just coexisting for a moment. At number 3, let's play the Corre again. It's Justin Gabriel. Gabriel goes for a 450, which Lawler rips him for. PJ eats it, then gets dumped out by former Nexus teammate Bryan. At number 4, oh radio, it's Zack Ryder. Woo 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 and all that. He's not quite the internet's favorite yet. Like, true Long Island story is not a thing at this point, or it's not very over as it will get, so we're not getting the massive we want Ryder chants, but we're getting close. Zack hits the Rough Rider on Punk, but is quickly thrown out by Bryan. It's back to he and Punk. At number 5, Willie Reegs. All right, this must be a fun moment for all 3 of these guys to be sharing the ring together. Regal and Bryan are just trading uppercuts back and forth. Regal takes the kicks. Real good stuff here. At number 6, it's Ted DiBiase. I come from money. I come from class. I also steal money, just like my dad. At number 7, listen, this ain't no make-believe. It's John Morrison, and he's on a hot run at the start. He gets knocked off the apron, but clings onto the barricade. And as Regal is thrown out, Morrison parkours his way back to the steps, and he's back in. It was a very cool, very dramatic re-entry into the match, and this was obviously before Kofi Kingston made it his thing. At number 8, Yoshi Tatsu. At number 9, new Nexus member Husky Harris. He's the youngest entrant of the Rumble match at 23 years old, and they say on commentary, imagine what he'll look like at 30. Imagine indeed. At number 10, Chavo Guerrero, who hits the Three Amigos on everyone. At number 11, Mark Henry. Gosh, I wonder how anyone will get him over the top rope. He throws out Chavo and Tatsu in short order. At number 12, it's JTG. He's been running solo since November when Shad Gaspard was released from the company, and also he would go on to kind of be one of the biggest running jokes on the internet for a while as for how long JTG would stay employed. At number 13, it is the genesis of new Nexus member Michael McGillicuddy. He eliminates JTG, then Mike and Husky eliminate DiBiase. At number 14, Chris Masters with some very unmasterpiece-like music. Sad. He puts the master lock on Punk and almost eliminates him, but Punk is saved. Number 15, new Nexus member David Otunga. With the numbers firmly on his side now, Punk eliminates Bryan, Masters, and then Jomo. All 4 guys take Henry out of the match. At number 16, Tyler Rex, now known today as Gabby Tuft, who immediately gets wrecked by the Nexus, and so they're still standing tall for a while. At number 17, it's one half of the tag team champions, Vladimir Kozlov, who meets a similar fate. At number 18, R-Truth, also swarmed and eliminated. And then on commentary, they're saying this is not what the Royal Rumble is about. And Michael Cole goes, Why not? I'm like, yeah, it's actually a pretty good point. Like, why is Punk one of the first people to have thought up of this idea? At number 19, it's the Great Khaki. He does eliminate Husky Harris, but that's about all he gets, because at number 20, it's the newest new Nexus member, Mason Ryan, aka Welsh Batista. He single-handedly takes out Khali. Wow, keep your eyes on that kid. I think he's going places. We're past the halfway point, and Punk seems to have things well in hand. At number 21, it's Booker T, a tremendous pop for Booker making his WWE return. It's the first time we'd seen him since 2007 when he went and did his whole TNA run. He had that, he came back, and he's right here once again, and the crowd is just alive for it, which is pretty cool. He plays all the hits, drops the Spinneroonie to a big ovation. He nearly eliminates Punk, but Mason Ryan takes him out instead, giving the world this immortal meme moment. At number 22, it's John Cena, and you know they wanted to get the big zoom in on Punk's angry face, but then the big lug gets in the way of the shot. Cena has had it out for the Nexus like since day one. Obviously, he led the charge at SummerSlam the previous year against the Nexus, then went on this big storyline with Wade Barrett until he buried him in a bunch of chairs at TLC, and continuing this line of thinking, because now Punk has jumped him and is starting running the new Nexus. Now Cena has made it his goal to eliminate all the Nexus members in this matchup. And that is what he immediately does, taking out all the Nexus underlings. Punk is all by himself, and the fans are loving this moment. Then at number 23, it's Hornswoggle, who's not even dressed in his full gimmick at this point. Punk kicks him down, tries to take out Cena, but John turns it around and eliminates Punk to a huge ovation. So now Cena and Hornswoggle are going to be the new mega powers for a bit as they take on number 24, Tyson Kidd. He takes a head scissors from Swoggle, an AA from Cena, a lowercase AA by Hornswoggle, and Tyson is out. I don't know about y'all, but if this match stopped at 30 like it traditionally would, I would be fine with it at this point, because you've already gotten rid of the biggest story going on in this matchup. What's the point? At number 25, it's Heath Slater. The future 3MB members collide, and we get some more wackiness with Swoggle and Cena hitting this double "you can't see me." We get the tadpole splash, but I think the finger was on the wrong button on the switcher for that moment. At number 26, it's SOS era Kofi Kingston, who's also the IC champion. Number 27, Jackie Swags. He's laid out by Kofi. We get more Swoggle madness. At number 28, it's the Cockroach King, the King of the Ring, Sheamus. Hornswoggle is a brave individual standing up to him, but he gets kicked off the top turnbuckle and tumbles on out of the ring. At number 29, Booyaka Booyaka, it's Rey Mysterio. He uses the 619 to kick Swagger off the apron, and he's out. At number 30, out of 40, it's core leader, not leader, Wade Barrett. At number 31, it's Dolph Ziggler pulling double duty. At number 32, it's Diesel. Kevin Nash is back in WWE for the first time since 2003. Of course, he went on his TNA run for a long time as well, part of the Main Event Mafia with Booker T, and now he's back here. I did find it very curious that they made him Diesel for this one, because it's not as if he wasn't in the company as Kevin Nash between his two runs as Diesel, and he would not stay that way for long. It kind of reminds you of when Scott Hall was inducted into the Hall of Fame as Razor Ramon specifically. Very weird choice here, but him coming out to the Diesel theme is just really great stuff. It's another big shocker here as Big Daddy Coolata cleans house to another huge ovation. Number 33 is Drew McIntyre. During this time, Ray hits the 619 to Diesel, which gets him booed. At number 34, it's Alex Riley, who walks right into John Cena's right hand, lol. Barrett eliminates Diesel as The Miz joins commentary here. At number 35, it's The Big Show. We do get a face-off with Nash and Giant. That was actually pretty cool, a WCW moment. Stryker's trying to drop a legitimate sports reference here, and Michael Cole just screams, "Who cares?" at him. Then Show throwing Dolph out. At number 36, it's Ezekiel Jackson. This here's what we call domination. How come he doesn't come out to the core theme? The final ECW champion eliminates a past ECW champion in Show. At number 37, Santino Marella, the other half of the tag team champs. He's immediately KO'd and powders to the floor. At number 38, it's Alberto Del Rio, who's been getting a big old push since debuting in the company. He's got his fancy cars, he's got his personal ring announcer in Ricardo Rodriguez, and he is the Mexican aristocrat. He's basically a different version of Ted DiBiase or JBL, and he's made it it's his destiny Riley to win the Royal Rumble and go on to become the world champion, the WWE champion. They're giving him the big old push here, if that's any indication of how this is going to go. Anyway, Alex Riley was eliminated off camera. Fuck that guy. And Stryker goes, ha ha.
I do believe that Alex Riley has been eliminated, but I'll just quickly give you and that's about it.
At number 39, Randy Orton, who jumps Alberto on the outside. Okay, here's a quick question. If you've got so many people on your roster that you need to expand the Rumble match from 30 to 40, then why are you including people in this matchup who've already wrestled in 2 of the 3 other matches you've done tonight? Orton eliminates Kofi and Sheamus. We get the face-off with Orton and Cena. They point to the sign that gets no pop. I said it once, I'll say it again. Orton, Cena, it's supposed to make sense. That's supposed to be kind of a moment, like a generational thing. But to me, meant nothing. Finally, at number 40, it's Kane, one of the record holders of all time in the Rumble match. Ezekiel Jackson eliminates himself while going after Kane. Kane wants to powerbomb Mysterio, who counters and takes Kane out. Ray is then gone immediately. Our final 4 are Cena, Barrett, Orton, and Del Rio. 2 SmackDown guys, 2 Raw guys. They say on commentary, 2 iconic stars and 2 men who will be the future of WWE. Oops. Man, the crowd does not give a shit about Orton and Cena facing off. Just give it up already. Cena is loudly directing traffic and calling spots with Alberto, hits the AA on him. Alex Riley hops back up to the ring to distract. The Miz dumps Cena out and he's gone. Tough luck, Cena. Looks like you're just going to be in the main event of the next 3 WrestleManias and have a multi-year feud with The Rock. Orton eliminates Barrett. Del Rio eliminates Orton right after. Del Rio appears to have won. The music is playing. Ricardo is shouting. But hark! Santino Marella is finally done selling and gets back in the ring. The crowd is louder for this than Orton and Cena as he tearfully prepares the Cobra. Hits it on Del Rio. Is he going to win this one? He's just hot dogging too much. Del Rio throws him out and wins officially. I'm going to give this one 4 stars out of 5. I think that, this was, even though it was a bit bloated because of the extra numbers, I still think this was a really well done Rumble match. And if we're comparing it to the last one I reviewed in 07, I feel that this one had a lot of things, a lot of elements that the 07 Rumble match did not have. And like surprises, for instance, fun things happening on more than one occasion. I think that, the reason they added 10 people to this match, it's clearly to get over the 2 stable idea, because you've got the new Nexus, you have the Corre, but man, only the new Nexus gets anything cool here, because the Corre shows up and they don't do dick in this thing. So much for the team unity, that's an afterthought compared to the new Nexus here. So it gives you a real good idea of where these 2 teams are going as we head into Mania. It seemed like a total slam dunk of an idea to have new Nexus and Corre facing off, faction warfare. What else are we doing with these guys if not that? But it was just added, the 10 people were added to tell the story of Punk and all his boys helping him and whatnot. But then when he's eliminated before number 23, you still could have told that whole story with 30 people. And there was so much fat you could have trimmed off of this Rumble to keep it to 30, still keep most of your stories intact, and you wouldn't have had to have Orton and Ziggler doing double duty. You wouldn't have had a bunch of people who have no chance of winning. You could have made it more wow, anybody could win this thing. But yeah, it was kind of a weird thing. So 40 men, they don't do it again until Saudi Arabia, and with good reason. I think it was, I could see why they did it, but they didn't take advantage of it at all. I know that when it's the Rumble pay-per-view, you're going to have fewer undercard matches. That does seem to be the formula, and especially when you've added 10 more guys to the match, you're going to have a longer Rumble match than average. But if that's the case, couldn't you shave 5 minutes off of those first 2 matches, give a little bit more to the Divas Championship match, or make another match in there somewhere as well, just to break it up a little more? I thought that was such a weird stacking of things for this show, and they made the first 2 title matches kind of unnecessarily long as a result. So yeah, besides that, I think that, again, the Royal Rumble match was a great one. I think Edge and Ziggler was the superior match of the 2 world title matches. Yeah, but overall, I think it was fun to look back and think back to where I was in 2011 and, seeing the returns of Booker T and Kevin Nash. That was a lot of fun. And, Del Rio winning the Rumble match itself, wasn't too excited about that. He was another one of those characters who I just didn't really care about when I was watching. I thought he was kind of boring. Like, okay, they're hitching the wagon to him, they're strapping the rocket, so we'll see what happens, of course. Mania 27 is going to be a very interesting time for everyone involved in that picture. But what did you think of the 2011 Royal Rumble, and what about this review? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, hit that bell icon for all the notifications. Well, next time on the Classic Review, we're going way back into the year 1996. We're going to see what ECW is up to around this time. Shane Douglas is back in, Cactus Jack on his way out, and the main event's going to see Raven defending the ECW World title against the Sandman in a big rematch. It's all going down at CyberSlam 1996. But until then, I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.